And did you go to school in Boston, or?
I went to school in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay.
Rhode Island College for musical theater. It was an up-and-coming program, and I wasn't ready to go to New York, but I was ready to leave home, so I went just far enough.
Awesome. And did you move to DC for Hairspray, or what brought you here?
A lot of things.
Okay.
I've been in New York for 6 years, and I was just kind of ready for a change. And when I got Charlie Brown out here last year, I hadn't been to DC since I was a little kid, and I just loved it so much. And I had no idea the extent of the theater scene out here, none whatsoever. And I was just so welcomed, and I loved every part of it. And so they asked me to come back to the Stephen Schwartz project. And every time I come, people see the show, they just talk to me afterwards and say, you really should move out here, and you could probably, get more work. And I thought, work is good. Maybe that makes sense. And so when Hairspray happened, it all fell into place.
Awesome.
My lease was up in New York right before I started rehearsals here, and I was like, that's it.
Awesome. Did you have a day job in New York?
Oh, geez. I was a paralegal for like 3.5 years. I don't even know what a paralegal does. I really don't. I used to Exactly. All real estate. I can tell you anything about mortgages and not have a clue what I'm talking about. So I did that for 3.5 years, and it was absolutely miserable. Because I never got to do theater, which is the only reason I was in New York. So then I convinced them to lay me off. Again, what an actress does. And things just, I had rough times in New York. I decided to give it up. I enrolled in cosmetology school. I had rough, times with agents and shows, and it was just, it can be very disheartening sometimes. And I had one of those years last year, and then when I enrolled in cosmetology school, right before I was supposed to start, was when I booked Charlie Brown. So I just thought that was kind of a sign that maybe I should stick to what I, do best.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Any other day jobs in New York, or was it the paralegal thing all the time?
I started out temping,
Okay.
answering phones, which is how I got my paralegal position, because I was fine over the phone. Not that it has anything to do with law. And that was it. I did shows, but a lot of that stuff was at night. I didn't want to be that person that was struggling in the restaurants and busting their butt. I was like, I'm going to do something different.
Awesome. I love it. And now you're in DC.
Yes.
What do you like about DC?
Oh my gosh. It's clean, it's quiet. Although too quiet, I still can't sleep. As weird as it sounds, I need like sirens and honking horns. Can't sleep. It's not good. But I love the beauty of it. Like, it's, you go to New York in the middle of the night, and there's still thousands and thousands of people like everywhere, and sometimes like you just need a break. And I feel like here feels like home. Like it's comfortable here, and I can walk through my neighborhood, and it's just beautiful and peaceful. And the theater. Wow.
Do you see much theater?
I've seen a few things, when I can.
Yeah.
Before I moved here, mostly, because as soon as I got here, it was in my schedule. But I'm just like blown away.
Yeah.
It's so great.
It is so good. People don't realize what we have here.
No.
I had no idea until I moved here to work for Signature. What? It was the same story. I had no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, but there's such a thriving scene here.
And people come from here and they're like, oh, I need to move to New York. And I'm like, been there, done that.
Right.
DC.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. Steve and I have talked about this. Is the people who, they will only go into New York for the theater, and they say, oh, well, if it's here, it's, get over it. This is the second theater city in the country.
There's so much going on there.
2 comments yesterday after our shows. One matinee and one night show, 2 different people, whatever, both said, I saw it on Broadway. This was way better.
Love it. Any questions for Carolyn so far? Yeah. Yes. Barbara first and then Steve.
Well, a couple things. You actually live in D.C. now, and you're married, aren't you? So what does your husband do? I'm just curious.
My husband is a basketball official, a referee, so he can really do that anywhere because basketball is everywhere. And then he also had a job in New York as like an EA assistant for this big company that happens to have a branch in Arlington. So his transition was even easier than mine.
Right?
I love it. Steve?
Do you do any non-musical stage work?
I have all through school and everything. I don't enjoy it as much. I started out in music and it just blossomed into theater as a whole. But my passion is always music. Even if I wasn't, like I love to put on concerts, cabarets type thing. I just love to sing music.
Has Signature invited you to do a cabaret yet?
Not yet, I'm new. I'll give them a few months.
You can start. There's a question over here.
Since this is basically a Baltimore-based musical, have you gone to Baltimore to soak up some of the ambience of the town to help you in the role or anything?
I haven't had a chance to go to Baltimore. But I have tried some good crab cakes. And I have had a lot of conversations with Robert Arbor Davis, who is, I call him my walking Wikipedia. I can't believe one person can have as many stories as he. And I keep telling him to write books, and he wants to write it about something entirely different. I don't know, but he is just brilliant, number one. Number two, has experienced everything, and he was like our reference point. Anytime there was like a name in the script that we didn't understand, or a reference that we didn't understand, he'd sit down and stop rehearsal dead in its tracks and tell us about the reference and give us a whole background story on it. So it's pretty good. It's pretty helpful.
Is there anything worth sharing with us that he taught you in rehearsals?
Oh, jeez. Well, not so many things. Well, he sat down one day, and it was really cool, just to talk to us all in general about his experiences through, like, the riots and everything, and growing up, and how he had a funny story about, he tried to audition for one of these dance shows, or try to get on it, and they made him an alternate, because he was really good, but he was overweight, and they weren't going to put that on camera. And then he won some other dance contest, and he won like a Johnny Mathis CD or album record. And everyone made fun of him for it. So it turned out to be a horrible experience for him. But just like him talking about even his character, Edna, this woman who was like trapped in her home, and how there were actually women who would like that, just be in their homes for 30 years, and it was just a different life. And he was so nervous about playing the part, but he's so much more feminine than I am. he knows his stuff. He's right on track.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Yes, right here.
Your education, where did you start? Where did you get interested in theater? How did it all start for you? Did you do it in high school?
I did it, yeah, probably since I was 4. I mean, I was singing Silent Night at City Hall, in every school production, and then my first show, I think I was like 6 maybe, was like Thumbelina. My mom made my costume, and my aunt still has my signed program.
Where was Thumbelina in school?
I'm sorry?
Where was Thumbelina in school?
Oh, just growing up, I was like 6 years old, just a community theater production. I did a lot of community theater, yeah. And then I got lucky enough to do Joseph, which was awesome with Donny Osmond. And then after that, it was a lot of high school shows, more community theater.
How long were you on the road with Joseph?
Well, because I was, I think, 12. They had the children's chorus.
Did they just get a new one for each town?
Yes.
Okay.
So wherever it was sitting down, they got a new chorus in each. But it was really fun. It was the time that Donny Osmond went on the Rosie O'Donnell talk show, and he called her overweight. And it was so funny because the next day on stage, we were letting into him, really badly.
So sad.
And he was really nice, but that was very inappropriate.
Yeah, he's a really, really nice guy.
I
He's
know,
famous
he was
as he is.
really nice. And he used to take markers and come in our dressing room and dot our noses and call them Donny dots. And I don't know why we thought that was so cool at the time. We had a marker on our face. But he's really nice.
Oh, I love it. Other questions?
watching the original Hairspray movie. I mean, every girl sleepover, we'd always rent that movie. Love, love, love that movie. And Cry Baby, which was on last night, I was watching. Love, love that movie. Never met him. I really think he should come.
I do too.
Yeah.
He is
Is it
going
in
to be
Baltimore?
in town because he's doing something called a John Waters Christmas at
Yes.
the Birchmere. And in fact, I mentioned to Peter Ramos, I said, you know, wouldn't it be great if we could, and Peter is working on trying to get him here.
It's about trying to get him around.
Yeah.
We're trying.
Come on, he's so close.
I know.
Let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. Yes, right here.
Do you have a favorite Tracy in the musical movie version or the original non-musical movie version? You remind me a lot of Rookie Lake, actually.
She's my favorite. I've been auditioning for this role since it opened on Broadway, so about 9 years. They just kept calling me in and calling me in and calling me in, and I would never get it. And then I would stop going, and then they would call me and say, "Are you out of town?" And I'm like, "No, you're just not casting me." Literally, I've probably been in almost 40 times for this role, and I've never gotten it. And I think the problem was, especially like the Broadway casting directors, they really wanted like cutesy, like young, you know, pippy, like not a care in the world, and wanted to be like really uppy and cute. And she's sassy. I'm sorry, like she has to have some sass. And I'm sassy. And that didn't work for me for her. And I don't know. I don't know if that's what Eric wanted or what, because that's what I gave here. But just Ricky Lake absolutely embodies that for me. I mean, you know, the show is so much more than just like fun music and bright colors and, you know, humor. It's, you know, it's about some deep issues and, you know, some serious matter that just happens to be brightened up with fun music and everything. So she needed so much more, and I love Ricky Lake. She had that.
What year was it with Ricky Lake? What year was that, do you know?
80?
In the early 80s, I don't know the year.
Something.
Early 80s, I think.
Yeah.
82, somewhere around there.
She was just on Dancing on the Stars.
That's right.
She always showed, she just lost.
Oh, she.
She lost to the war veteran.
Aww.
But she was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, did she originate the role?
In the
In
movie.
The original 1980s version.
Yeah,
The-
she's never
It
done
wasn't
the
a musical.
musical version.
She
The original genre.
She did the Divine, the
Yeah.
one with
Gotcha.
Divine.
I'm sorry, it's not musical with Ricky Lake?
No, it
No,
was not.
no.
It didn't start off as a musical. The original film was not a musical at all.
So the one that you're showing for this program, is it going to be musical or not
It
musical?
is a musical.
Very.
Very, very musical. There was a lot of singing.
I know the play is, but I mean the movie you said you're.
Oh, no,
No.
the movie we're showing is, no, that is not a musical.
Is it
This is
a
the one that
Ricky Lake?
started, this is the one with Ricky Lake and Divine and Sonny Bono and,
Oh, you're showing Ricky Lake?
yeah, yeah.
So how did you get hooked into the signature audition and how did you?
How did I? A friend of mine from Charlie Brown, actually, who works for No Rules Theater Company, I guess just suggested one day to someone at Signature, you should see my friend for Hairspray, because after every show that I did, someone in the audience would come up to me and say, "Do you know Signature's doing Hairspray? You really should do it." Because everywhere I sang, people say, "You really should do Hairspray. Have you done Hairspray?" And every audition I walk into, "How come you haven't done Hairspray?" I don't know. I've tried. So they sent me an email and they said, "Were you up for coming down and audition?" And yeah. So I did. Dance first, which usually I'm like, "Oh God, let me sing." And they did. I sang Good Morning Baltimore and Thank You. You know, one of those. Oh God, I don't even know how it went. And I got it that day.
Wow,
Yay!
what a day. Holy cow, that's awesome.
Not
Pretty
40
much.
times, not bad.
48 times the charm.
Matt Gardner did say last year at a Page to Stage event, he did say that when you walked through the door, they were quite confident that they had found their Tracy.
You're kidding.
He said when you walked through the door, their basic attitude was, "We hope she can sing."
Oh my gosh. At least they didn't say, "I hope she can dance."
So they were smitten with you immediately.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. You said it in front of a public audience. I don't feel bad sharing that information. Yeah.
Was it hard to learn to dance? Are you a dancer?
Oh no. Well, yes,
Oh, okay.
not a dancer. In New York, I'd be considered a singer who moves. And by moves, it's like, yeah, I can tap my toes and keep a beat. So I was a nervous wreck out here, a nervous wreck. And I ran into the choreographer on like the first rehearsal, and she was, "You doing Hairspray?"
Until Karma got a hold of you,
Oh,
right?
yes, her daughter. I
Yeah.
ran into her daughter, and are you in Hairspray? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, "I'm the choreographer," and I was like, God help you, because I don't dance. And now I do. Because she said, "Oh, I'm gonna make you dance," and I was like, "You know, you really don't know what you're talking about." And she did. She made me dance.
That's awesome.
That's why I'm so sore.
How is working with Brianne and Karma?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I get why they work for Disney.
Yeah.
First of all, they're magical. Magical ladies. Patience of the saint. Honestly, if they could make me dance, and I used to say that to Robert. Robert's like, "I can't do this." He had to do like a step touch, and I'm like, "Robert, if I can do what I am doing in the show, you can step touch." They're unbelievable, amazing to work with.
What do you like about the character of Tracy? Why has this been such a dream role for you?
Everything. I like everything about her. I think I connect to her on a lot of levels. You know, I've always been typed as, "Oh, you should play Tracy." Like, that's what I was in New York, because I was like 5 feet tall, chubby brunette, and that's, you know, you get pigeonholed, like, but that's what I was my whole life. And I don't like to be pigeonholed. I don't like to be typecast. Like, you know, I'm more than that. And she has no limitations. Like, to say, "Oh, I'm going to be, you know, on TV," and to just do it. And then say, "I'm going to single-handedly end segregation," and to just do it. Like, she's amazing and inspirational in so many ways, and funny and sassy, and I just love her.
And she sings great.
So how has she influenced you?
Yeah, that's a good
Because
follow-up.
it's interesting, you already seem like that kind of person.
Well, you know what? Getting that role, seriously, kind of changed my life. I'm not fresh out of high school. You know, and I've tried for this for 9 years. And to get something so big and so great in a role that's like so important to me at this stage in the game, it really brought a whole new level of, like, you know, confidence and everything. I know that this is, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's like a personal comeback for me. And to have it be to play Tracy, I literally, like, if I have to freeze in a scene, I'll sit there sometimes and be like, "Oh my God, I'm totally in Hairspray." Actually in Hairspray. And then I will get back into the song. But I stop and think about it sometimes, and I have to, like, pinch myself, because it's like kind of everything I've ever wanted. It's really cool.
Do you see yourself in Tracy at all?
Oh God, yeah.
How so?
Oh jeez.
She's sassy.
Yeah, and a great dancer, and I grew up with her mentality. I don't see colors, I don't see boundaries, I don't see limitations. Like, you know, things get me down, fine, especially in this business. You know, you keep going. Like, things knock her down all the time, and she doesn't, you know, give a care at all. It doesn't, like, affect her, and I strive to be like that. I wish it wouldn't affect me as much as it doesn't affect her, but she's just, if she were like an actual person, oh my God, I think she'd be the coolest chick. We'll have to hang out with her.
Love it. Yes, right.
What's up next for you after the run of Hairspray is over?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I just got here. I'm hoping somebody says, "Who is that?" and says, "Wants a job? Want a job?" That would be nice.
What about Dancing with the Stars?
Oh my God. I'm not ready. Not yet.
Steve.
What role would you like like to play next? Now that you've done Tracy, what would be
What are
another
the dream
role
roles?
that you would like?
Somebody asked me that the other day, and I really, drew a blank. Because if you asked me that a couple years ago, I'd be like, Tracy. And now I haven't really had the chance to, ponder something else. I don't know. I would love to, do some, rock musicals. I think it'd be really fun, because that's kind of what I do now. I grew up studying opera and classic. I was a coloratura soprano, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Did not enjoy it. So, I had scholarships of conservatories and the whole nine, and I got to New York, and my passion's really rock music. It's like my thing with my father. He is so into old school 60s, 70s, 80s, rock music, and it's such a passion for him. And so that's the kind of connection that we have. That's the one genre of music that really makes me feel something. So I started working on that a lot. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have bronchitis.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I keep saying in my
Sweetie,
throat.
have some water.
Not normally this. But what was the question?
I don't remember. Oh, the dream roles.
Oh, dream roles. Oh, so the thought of being in some rock musicals, I got to do an off Broadway, and I do some rock cabarets in the city and things like that. That's fun for me. So rather than be kind of again pigeonholed into a cutesy whatever musical theater singer dancer, something in that genre would be fun. But I also like to work, so I will take anything. Almost.
Now, who were you in Charlie Brown?
Lucy.
Ah.
It was a very last second thing. They had one Lucy, didn't work out. They had another Lucy, and all of a sudden they called me, or somebody sent me an email that I met 5 years ago briefly in New York, 6 years ago. Somehow remembered me and said, "Can you submit a video?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay," and was in DC in less than a week.
Gosh. Now, that was with New Rules, wasn't it?
Yes.
Did you do it in both locations? Because they do their
Yes.
shows, so you did it both in it's North Carolina. They do their shows, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's in
They
Salem.
yeah.
In H Street.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Great. Yes, Judith.
Can you talk about what it's like, your experience working with Eric as a director?
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
And I actually had tickets to Follies on Broadway with my mom, and then the hurricane came, and then we had tickets again, and then something else. It was a natural disaster, all this stuff, so I never got to see it. But I was nervous, and especially because so many people have so many specific takes on Tracy and on Hairspray. Everybody's done it. I knew walking into this role, and I even experienced that. Everybody had done the show several times, even in our cast. And they had their own Tracys and their own, vision of what Tracy should be, and I didn't know what he wanted, and I wanted, to make sure I was the best Tracy I could be, and he was so, hands-off in a way that was so beneficial to me as a performer. I've been with directors who will go over every single line in the script, and what do you mean by this, and what are you thinking at this moment, and I'm like, just let me be me, and he wasn't like that, and he let me be me, and finally, after a couple days, I was even saying, do you want a Baltimore accent? Am I doing good? Do you like me? But, it works. He gave notes when they were appropriate, and he fixed things when they needed fixing, and everything else was kind of do the best of your ability, and if it needs to be changed, it'll be changed. And he was so fun and so laid back. You'd never know he was as big as he is. You really would never know. He met my parents the other night. Had this whole conversation with them after the show, talking about this, laughing about this. Walks away, says he's catching a flight to Chicago, and my mother's like, "Who is that?" He just directed that show that you saw in New York last week. That was him. What? Are you kidding me? I didn't know that. No idea. Great, awesome, I love it.
How have previews been going?
Really well.
Good.
People love the show.
Yeah, I loved the show. I've seen it
Yeah.
twice. so far.
Audience.
You have?
Yeah.
The audience loves your show.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, even my parents, they've seen everything. I've been in so many things since I was a little kid. And they were like in tears at the end, and my mom's like, I just wanted to dance. Well, you should have. Like, get up. That's so great though that you can like, and my cousin saw it and she goes, I wanted that last number to just keep going, and I'm like, keep going. It was like 10 minutes long. We couldn't keep going.
You can't stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Like that you can like evoke so much in someone, and that's why we do what we do. Like for someone to want to get up and do it with you, then you're doing your job.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, how did your parents feel finally seeing you play Tracy after all these
Oh
years?
my gosh. They, unbeknownst to me, they were supposed to come Saturday night to the show. They showed up Saturday afternoon, found out it was playing in the lobby, and pulled up 2 chairs in front of the TV and just watched it. Yeah, like the proud parents that they are. Finally, some wonderful person let them into the theater and for the second half of the show, and I didn't know they were there until the very end. When I'm like, you can't stop the beat, I'm sweating, I'm puffing, and all of a sudden I see. Loved the show, so they came that night, and then Sunday morning said, do you know if there are any tickets for tonight's show? And then they came Sunday.
Love it.
Question, how was it working? The understudy was on this past weekend, and
Yeah.
I understand it was a woman.
It was.
How did that change anything?
It's totally different
Yeah.
working with a woman. First of all, is it the first time
And
in
that's the
history?
first time I've ever heard of
There was a
Harvey.
woman.
Yeah.
I know. They probably couldn't get anybody. Who was it, by the way?
Kathy Fuller.
Who did a wonderful
I
job.
don't know.
She
I'm
is-
sure she did, yeah.
I mean, she had like 2 hours of rehearsal, and you would think she'd been doing that show for a decade. She was. We're so proud of her. I was like her proud mom.
But did she sort of look like a man in drag?
Well, here's the
Did
thing.
they get it?
She was really pretty,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
and when they put her in those dresses, she looked good.
It's true.
She looked really good. But it's just so different, and I was talking to Harry about it too, who plays Wilbur, because he has to sing opposite her, and he's used to sing opposite a man, and Snuggling was a man, and he just, after rehearsal was like, this is so different. And I'm like, I know, isn't it? I don't know why, and it's not a bad different. It's just different to interact with a woman, and then to interact with a man who comes off as a woman. Really, he's pretty darn feminine in the show, but I don't know. Good different. They were both unbelievable.
Well, the role, I understand it, I've heard the Harvey Firestein
Yes.
CD, and with Robert Abbott, there's no attempt to make him sound like a woman much. In other words, we all know it's a man in drag,
Yeah.
and so they're not doing that. So did she use her natural voice?
She did. Well, she sang it in the original key,
Yeah.
which was very low for her,
Oh,
so
okay.
it ended up sounding like.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, played it, herself. She's just great.
Yeah. I was there for the Saturday matinee, and she was
Great.
wonderful. Yeah. She was a lot. It was a very different show, but it was a fun show. It was
Yep.
still lots of fun, but it does change the energy somehow of those scenes.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody came in not knowing.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, she's like 6 feet tall too.
Yeah.
So if you
Wow.
were expecting to see a man and she's singing that low, you might be fooled. She's pretty.
Was there a question back there? No? Oh, I thought I saw a hand.
How does Robert Aubrey Davis feel about you referring to him as feminine all the time?
Probably wonderful. That's his goal. He always says, I'm turning into a woman. I've had to change my diet and just eat vegetables and smoothies and pick foods. And I'm like, I don't eat that. I don't know what woman you're, modeling yourself after, but
I think
we
he's
can eat.
enjoying this femininity.
I think
You know
he
why?
loves
Because
it.
the other night I was talking to him and he said, oh, by the way, this is the way he's looking, I'm getting a new dress. And I can't wait to see it.
He's loving every second of the show. shoes.
Yeah.
Patent leather pink shoes.
They have to make those for him?
They were specially ordered.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good grief.
he is sassy.
I'm glad they didn't make him do it in heels.
Oh, jeez. I don't know if that could happen.
On his face.
Well,
I could do
Edna wouldn't
heels.
have worn heels.
That's-
Right,
I don't
right.
think so. No, that's valid. Yeah.
I could do the show in heels.
Yes, right here.
I was wondering whether you sensed any difference in the audience. Was the audience all of a certain age that remembered this kind of music and all that? Or were there any young people that really got into it as well? Is there a difference in the audience age?
There's always a difference. You can tell when there's older people in the audience, you can tell when there's younger people in the audience. When there's younger people in the audience, there's a lot less laughter, because sometimes it's smarter comedy that they're not as adapt to, but they get into like the fun and the break, the loud music and the dancing. But when it's an older crowd, you know, they get the jokes. They laugh a lot more. But I mean, they've all been great crowds.
I brought a student group on Saturday with me, and during Run and Tell That, an 18-year-old football player who was part of the student group punched me out of excitement halfway through the night. Yeah. The highlight of my teaching career right there.
Some of the students here came maybe last week, and they saw me after the show, and they've all like friended me on Facebook.
Do you have favorite moments in the show?
Ooh, favorite moments. When Run and Tell That is over. No, that's a fun number. Geez. I love the moment when I'm first coming out and it's all dark, then I'm just getting into like Good Morning Baltimore. And I feel like I'm on one of those rickety rides at Disney World, like rolling out on the canopy. And those are one of the moments that things like really start to hit me. And I like that moment. And I love Without Love. I think that's so funny, and I love dancing on the stairs and stuff. That's fun. Motormouth Maybelle.
Oh, God, she's
Oh, yeah.
fabulous.
Pretty sure I don't have to say anything else. I'm going to be her in my next life, by the way. I'm going to walk on stage, belt my face off, get a standing O, and call it a day. Rather than for 2.5 hours sweating like an animal. She is just to die for. In the end, because you feel the audience, like, and You Can't Stop to Be the finale, like, I literally see people like leaning forward, like with the biggest, or people like pointing at me, like just so excited. That's so fun to see.
It's your mother.
I love your relationship on stage with you and Lauren, Penny.
Oh my
You two
gosh.
are like fabulous together.
She is just a doll.
The thing you do with
And you know, I didn't know how it would be coming into, like I knew there were all these actors, like they've worked together 100 times in this city. And I had to be best friends with one of them, and you know, I was like the new kid in school and didn't have a clue what I was doing and was a nervous wreck about, you know, being decent. And God, she just makes things so easy. She's just like so fun. If I ever had to have anybody next to me for the majority of that show, I'm so glad it's her. She's just so great.
Are there particular challenges in this show? Things that are hard? Or that were hard that have become easy?
Oh yeah, well the dancing. Oh
Yeah.
God. Oh God. Like, I still feel like an old lady in the morning. I can't like use my legs. I don't think that'll ever get better. Yeah, that's the one thing that I was so nervous about, because it's such a huge part of the show. Like that's such like it's her passion, and to make something look like she can do it is different from making it look like it's her passion and she loves it. I could probably still work on that. But I all day rehearse, get there early and go through the dancing, rehearse dancing all day, go home and dance in my bedroom, wake up and go early and dance on my breaks, like just to get it. I needed it so bad to be good.
Now you know what it's going to be like on Dancing with the Stars.
You know, you're a follow Ricky Lake.
I know. It makes sense.
Yes, back here?
Back in the days when you were a coloratura, what roles did you play?
Oh, geez. I would study the conservatory, this is bad. I would study opera and everything at the New England Conservatory in Boston during the day, and then I would go to Brookline, just outside of Boston, and I would like sing in a gospel choir. That's when you know I was probably not doing the right thing. So where I was studying that and traveling all over singing, I was doing shows like The Who's Tommy and everything but opera. Except for the Mikado, which was as close as I was going to get. and it was beautiful. It's just, I just didn't love it. Like, it didn't evoke anything in me like Hairspray.
How did your teachers feel about that?
Well, if you get the right teacher, they just want you to be happy and successful. And I was really fortunate to have some unbelievable teachers. And in New York, my teacher's like my second husband. I just love him. And he works with all Broadway people, and he took me on and makes me feel like I can do this and I'm worth it. And it really doesn't matter what I'm singing as long as I'm happy singing it. So.
How is this Hairspray different from other Hairsprays?
Is this the first night of Hanukkah?
We're getting ready. How is this Hairspray different than other productions? Different from the movie
I'll tell you.
versions?
You're too much.
I know what you're talking about.
I would say that it's real.
Okay.
That we don't play things just to play it the way it's been played. I like to play Tracy, real, like how I would do it myself. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I think it's not, just cutesy musical theater, doesn't really have a meaning, or a purpose. This is just so much more. I mean, it's based on actual, events and a period of time that, people fought through and struggled through, and this is gritty. This isn't hunky-dory fun music. It is, but it's so much more, and I really think this version expresses that, like other versions like to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
We've seen enough sugar-coated theater. Let's have something a little more realistic.
Yeah, Eric said he wanted to go back to the original John Waters
Yeah.
film.
A little darker.
Thank God, because that's the one I like.
Is it difficult playing a character that you've seen in the movie versions or on stage? Is it difficult not to copy?
No, I don't like to copy anything. I don't like to. I don't know. I've always been like that. If I get a song to learn for a class or something, I refuse to do it like someone else did it. I will arrange the music entirely different myself. I will change all of the words. I will do whatever I have to do to make it different. My one concern was that this part is a really well-known role that had been played by well-known people a bajillion times. And people, like I said, in the cast even, had done the show so many times previously. I didn't want to be compared. I didn't want, people to tell me how they wanted me to do it. I didn't, I wanted the freedom and to do it the way I wanted it, which was real and sassy and gritty and all that good stuff. But yeah, I don't like I was afraid of all the comparisons and in the beginning there were some like, well, our Tracy, and I don't really care about your Tracy. That doesn't help me with my job. Because, at the end of the day, people are paying money to see this. This is, if I'm going to do the best damn job that I could do for these people and for myself. So I did myself.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you've been in any road companies, and if the idea of a road company is you are supposed to sign people who did it on Broadway, or if they give you some leeway in that.
Road companies like a tour.
Tour shows.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I never really wanted to to tour with anything. I'm kind of a homebody. And, I have a husband. But some theaters absolutely, touring or not, will say, this is how we want it. Like I said, the Broadway, I'd go in there, call back, and they'd say, basically, like, do it like this. And that's what I loved about Eric. It was like, do you, and if there's a problem, we'll fix it. And that just makes things so much better as a performer, so much better. So I appreciate that.
Barbara.
What if you're called to New York now, and to do something like, I heard Jesus Christ Superstar may come there,
Yep.
Would that be something you do, since now you live in D.C.? Would you consider going to do a show in New York now?
Yes. I'm looking at my husband. Yes. It.
Go where the money is.
Yeah, and that's awesome. My lease, I mentioned my lease was up in New York right before I moved here. Well, my parents refused to give up our apartment in the hopes that, this is it. Someone's going to see you and you're going back to New York to just do Broadway. So you're going to need a place to live, so we'll keep it.
Wow.
So they kept it.
Wow.
And even though I was like, no, this is it. Like, I'm leaving New York. But, I can't say. That sounds awesome. I mean, I can't imagine passing up that opportunity.
Why would you roll it out?
Right. And, it is different. Like I said, I'm not out of high school. I have a family who wants a family. And that has to come eventually. And that's not going to happen in a studio apartment in New York.
Right.
So I weigh a lot of options when I decide what jobs to take, where to take them, for how long. Yeah.
How old are you?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I think of her as 18.
That's what she is.
Well, I was talking with Lynn, who plays the gym teacher and Penny's mom and one of the guards at the jail, and she said something about moving here, and I said, oh, blah, 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 my husband, you're married? And, yeah. I thought you just graduated high school. I was like, thank you so much. I'm not that old, but I'm not the 18-year-old that is like national tours and, busting their butt in the city anymore. Like, I've waited at enough calls and not gotten seen. I've had my life experiences in New York. So, but I'm still ready to work. And I can keep up with all those kids.
Yes, you can.
So,
Was there a question over here?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
yes.
just have a comment
Okay.
because a sales job. I'm taking my grandchildren to see the show.
Okay.
But Signature, I did not know that. Signature has a deal, 2 adults and 2 children is
Oh,
a
yeah.
special
The
price.
family pack.
So I throw that out. And it's for the shows that are appropriate to children. They don't do it all the time. But they said Xanadu and this one. So there's a really good price for 2 adults and 2 children.
Do it. Merry Christmas.
And I expect a kickback for that.
I'll see what I can do. Let's talk about the gender.
my parents, who just saw the show like 4 times this weekend, decided to do that, take my nieces in January for a Christmas
That's
present.
awesome.
Did that.
There you go.
That's wonderful.
Bought some t-shirts.
I don't think they'll do it for really.
No, which we actually had it online for really for about a day, and someone said, that's a terrible idea.
I missed what you said. What'd you say?
We had the family pack available for every show on the season, including Really, which has
Which is
a for
about the
mature,
Duke rape case.
which has a for mature audiences later on it. That lasted on the website about a day before we had to take that down. Whoops. Learn as we go. Any other questions?
Do you play basketball in your spare time?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
He does. No, I feel really bad. Growing up in Boston, I have 3 older brothers. It was always like sports, but it was like Red Sox, baseball, hockey. I never liked basketball. So I decided to try to watch it for his sake. And I love it. I'm a huge basketball fan.
Awesome.
I don't play though.
reached that point of the evening where we end with our standard 10 questions that we ask everyone. This was started before I came on board to lead these. These are the 10 questions that used to end every episode of Inside the Actors Studio.
Oh no! I just joked with someone about this. I'm like, what is this? Is this like Inside the Actors
It
Studio?
is.
So I have to answer those questions?
Yep.
Like, what do I want them to say? The pearly gates?
Yep, that's the 10 question.
Oh my god! I should have studied.
No, it's better
I'm not
spontaneous.
good with pop quizzes.
What is your favorite word?
Oh my gosh. These are going to be really difficult. Happiness? I like that one.
That's right.
Is that good? Is that good? Okay. Okay.
We're in the audience, we agree.
What is your least favorite word?
Oh. This is ridiculous, but I hate the word panties. Can you edit that out?
Unfortunately, I don't do the editing.
Like those Victoria's Secret commercials, every time they're like, ooh, panties, $2.99. I'm like, oh, jeez.
You like bloomers down the street then?
Bloomers is cute. Sure. Might be fired.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Oh, good song. Oh, yeah. Like if I listen to like an old Otis Redding performance or like Janis Joplin, some of those I'm always like, it just like inspires me in so many ways. Love.
I love it. What turns you off?
Victoria's Secret commercial.
Full circle.
Oh no. Oh jeez, what turns me off? I don't know. I'm sure I could think of something good. You know what turned me off about Robert Ivor Davis is him saying, I'm nervous wreck and I can't do this and I'm so bad and I don't know how to do theater and things like that. When you have like a genius at work who doesn't even know it,
Yeah.
that's when you want to like slap them and be like,
I love it. What is your favorite curse word? You're allowed to say it.
I am?
Yep.
Oh, it's definitely fuck.
Okay. Perfect.
I grew up with 3 older brothers. We have potty mouths.
What sound or noise do you love?
Kids, babies laughing. My nieces, they're like my world. And I just got a new nephew, a new godson. Just, the sound of it just, you could have the worst day ever. And then you hear something like that. And you're like, oh my God, I love you. Everything's good.
Oh, that's beautiful. What sound or noise do you hate?
Is it weird to say quietness? I
Unless you're from
can't
New York.
take that. I'm very uncomfortable and like very quiet. I need some noise.
Makes sense after what you talked about with your sleeping problems and all
Yes.
that. It makes sense. It makes sense.
I don't like quiet.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh geez. A hairdresser.
Nice.
Hair and makeup. I already decided I'm gonna call my salon Don't Tease Me. And my sister-in-law, my best friends, my mother used to be all hairdressers. My brothers all own their own barbershops. Like it's just like a family thing.
Oh,
It makes sense. I know.
wow.
I know.
That's cool.
I know.
I love it. What profession would you not like to do?
Paralegal.
Was there any hesitation there? Was there?
Not that I know what they do. I don't want to do that.
Never again. And the final question for the evening. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, there's no business.
Thank you for coming, guys.
night.